What up, mother truckers? BP Hero back at you here. A little bit of a break, but we're back in the action. Got the pitching video coming today that I've been talking about for a long time now. Finally got the second part of that out. But real quick, I do want to remind you, because there hasn't been a lot of videos out lately, but do remember, if this video hits 20,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, we're giving away 20 bats. So be sure and hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. Hope you enjoy the video. Hi, what up, mother truckers? It's your boy BP Hero back at you. Yeah, this video's a long overdue. Trust me, I get it. I did want to put a little bit of time in between these videos, just so you weren't trying to just buzz through them all and then go do it all in one day. Let's take time to learn the craft, right? Well, I took a little too long, but nonetheless, we're here doing it now. So, you got the basics down from the other video. Now we're going to kind of work on some stuff to get us a little bit more competitive. And maybe you're starting to dabble with pitching on your tournament team on the weekends, or even if you just want to be a more competitive league pitcher, this is going to be some great stuff that will help you take your game to the next level, hopefully. Or even if you're already a good pitcher, hopefully you still learn something here. All right, so the first thing we're going to work on, if we're going to start getting into more competitive stuff, playing tournaments and stuff like that, is we're going to learn how to throw the old knuckle ball. So there's going to be somebody in the comments, I already know, I can hit a knuckle ball. It's not hard to hit. Get on Old Scout, hit up Brett Helmer, get his email, get yourself on a conference team. Congratulations. That's not what we're here for. We're here to learn how to be a good pitcher, and we're going to do it today. And there's a few different ways to throw a knuckleball. So there's what I consider the traditional style of knuckleball. You just take your fingers and kind of dig them into the cover and the seams of the ball. Everybody likes to use the seam of the ball. And we're going to take it and we're going to push. We're going to wind back. And we're going to pull back and we're going to push. When you get to this point, you want to kind of push and let the ball release off your hand. You don't want to let it flip off your hand, because then you're going to get spin, and that's not what we want. If you're just going to throw the slow, tumbling, rolling knuckleball, it's just meat. It's just a slower spinning meatball. So that really doesn't do us anything. My goal when I throw a knuckleball, kind of what I'm shooting for, is like less than one rotation either way. And that's what works well for me. Just kind of give yourself a standard to throw to. And a knuckleball is not something that's always going to move. It's always going to go crazy. But if I'm starting to pitch against some tournament teams, especially getting into like the D and C realm of things, spinners are easy to hit. You always know what it's going to do. It's going to go up. It's going to come down. A knuckleball can do a variety of different things, especially if you got the wind pushed it in your face. It's going to make the ball go wild as long as you get it to not spin a whole lot. The ball can do a lot of unpredictable movement, and it's not like you're going to strike anybody out or anything like that. But when we're talking, you trying to hit this thing and place it somewhere, even just a half an inch one way at the last second can mess somebody up. For something that starts coming inside, drifts out, or same thing, if it starts outside and drifts in, a million different things can happen with the pitch that are unpredictable if you can get this ball to not spin when you throw it. So we're going to work on that right now. I did talk about grip a little bit earlier, and like I said, a lot of people want to just take it, dig into the kind of the cover and the seams there and let it rip. I've seen other people kind of do that number with it, or they'll even do this number with it. I found the best success actually doing something I won't necessarily call it unconventional, but I don't use the seams. I like to use the cover and dig my fingers into the cover. It works really well on a ball like a hardcore that's got that soft cover on it. You can really dig into it with. You just want to take your fingernails and just dig into it as hard as you can, and then we're going to pull back and push out. And even when it comes to that, there are some guys that do like the two-finger knuckleball. I dig in with all fours. Everybody's got their own preference. Mess with it a little bit, see what works. And everybody's going to have their own thing when it comes to what works for them. Easiest way to get the basics down, just work on, flipping it up for yourself and not letting it spin very much. Just to get the feel for pushing it out of your fingers, not letting it roll out of your fingers. And I will say my fingers are absolutely freezing. It's about 40 degrees out here. Keeping your hand warm is going to be big. You'll see me if I'm pitching a cold tournament. I'm always walking around with my hand in my pocket, usually balled up, trying to not play pocket pool. Get myself, my hand warm and ready to go, because there's nothing worse than trying to dig into the cover of a softball when your hand is cold. It already hurts. So keep your hand warm when it's cold outside. Get dug in. Same thing with this last time. We're going to pull straight back, push straight through. And when you get to the bottom here, you're going to want to push it off your fingers. Like if you wait too long, then you're going to end up with it spinning. It's going to shoot straight up and do a bunch of spinning. Or if you let it go too soon, it's just going to fall out there and not go anywhere. So it's a timing thing, and you got to find the timing in the push off as well. So I'm set. I'm ready to go. I'm just acting like there's a batter in the box. And that's kind of the basics of the knuckleball. It's nothing too complex. It's just a timing thing. Mess with it at home, get it figured out. Start by throwing like short distances. Maybe work on like toss them into a bucket from like 10 feet away. Scoot back to 20 feet. Work on tossing them in a bucket. Make sure they're not spinning or you're really defeating the purpose. You know, just kind of inch yourself back. Maybe even move back a little bit further. I used to do that too. Just to try and give you the feel for making sure you're getting plenty of strength behind it. Because one thing that does make a big difference, especially if you're playing U-trip, you don't want to hang it way up in the air. The faster you can throw it and the more air you can get crossing these seams, the better off you'll be. And with the knuckleball does come a little bit of knowing when and where. Now, if I'm pitching like a really competitive tournament, you know, against, you know, some men's teams, some C teams, some D teams, I'm probably going to try and throw 75% knuckleballs, maybe even more, depending on how it's working that day for me. And the big thing you want to remember is you still got to throw strikes. You don't want to nibble. You don't want to fall behind in the count and then have to fight your way back. You don't want to put yourself in a position to always have to throw a spinner. But more times than not, you need to be able to still command the knuckleball for a strike. There are guys out there that can still place the knuckleball like they would just the regular old spinner. Ain't quite that good, but I can still get my general idea of what I want to do with it down. And you have to make sure you're doing that before you get out there in a tournament and try throwing nothing but knuckleballs and you're starting walking batters. Completely defeats the purpose. All right, so the next one we want to work on is pitching from different positions on the rubber, and this does a couple different things for us. You might be in a situation where your knuckleball wants to float a certain way, or you are really good at throwing a certain pitch in a certain spot. Maybe you need to make some fine adjustments. Maybe the weather's working against you when it comes to throwing strikes, but you need to be able to pitch from a few different spots on the rubber just for the sake of trying to make sure that you are versatile and you're changing angles and looks a little bit. Just working some different angles on the rubber. You know, sometimes I'll toe the rubber from here, especially if I'm looking to pitch outside. I'll toe the rubber from out here, kind of get myself set, and then pitch from here. You can always come from here. And one thing I don't do when it comes to pitching competitive, I don't like to step into my pitch, because if I'm stepping into my pitch, well, now I'm in front of the rubber. I'm that much closer to a guy that's getting ready to hit a ball at me 100 miles an hour, because you got to be ready for every ball to be hit at you. So if I'm pitching from out here, which I will do from time to time, but it's the sense of urgency to get back is real when I'm pitching from in front of the rubber. That's why you don't see me do it a whole lot. And just to kind of maybe take you like through some sequence stuff, you know, I'll toe the rubber, I'll get started here, I'll throw my first strike with my knuckleball, whatever I'm throwing, and then from there, you got a few different options. You can come back to the same spot, you can come back in on the rubber, kind of keep the pitch inside on the righty, you can toe the outside. I'll even sometimes toe the outside of the rubber and try and throw something that runs in on the righty, maybe away from the lefty. Or you can step out here. I kind of stole this from Brian. Brian's really good at it, and he's really long, so this works well for him. Just step way out here to the side. It's just the angle of the pitch. Again, we're not looking to strike out 10 batters a game. We're looking to mix it up, give some different angles, give somebody something they might not see a lot, just to make them kind of think about it a little bit. And the angles and things can kind of throw off timing and it make it hard to do certain things with pitches. So anything you can do to give yourself an advantage is going to be a plus. Positioning yourself on the rubber is huge. And while we're talking about toeing the rubber, let's talk about where to fall after you throw the pitch. If you're pitching in a four-man defense and you know a batter's going to do certain things and you want to kind of help yourself out a little bit, you're definitely going to want to be back. Never throw from in front of the rubber if you're pitching in a four-man. It gives you less time to get in position to get yourself ready anyway. But if you're in a four-man, there's a huge hole behind you. You need to get back into a spot to try and fill it as fast as you can. So, you know, I'm going to throw my pitch, I'll get ready, and then fall back into one side. Don't take too many steps. Just take 2 or 3 steps, because you'll find yourself, which I am very guilty of at times, is backpedaling, trying to get in position, ball's already by you. Just 2 or 3 steps each way. Make sure you, at minimum, aren't walking up. Now, I've seen some guys, you know, they'll try and throw and then do this number here. Again, you're putting yourself in harm's way, I will say. Just throw your pitch and then fall back and get yourself in position. You know, you don't want to do anything crazy. Just get yourself in a position to feel the ball. No different than if I'm playing third base or first base or wherever. I need to be in a position to feel the ball to, one, get myself out of the way if I have to, because I'm not going to act like I feel everything, and two, give you the best chance to have a lot of range of motion because you're ready to move. And if you are pitching in a 5-man, it's very important to make sure that you and your middleman are on the same page. The world's best middleman will do whatever a pitcher tells him to do. If I need a batter to push a ball this way, I'm going to set my middleman over here, and then I'm going to make sure that when I throw my pitch, I'm going to cut her loose and then get myself in position over here. I don't want to cover up my middleman. I'll even turn around and tell him sometimes, hey, make sure I don't cover you up. One, I'm a big dude. I cover a lot of space. And two, no matter if you're big or small, you don't want to be screening your middleman, and you also don't want to be deflecting things either. Field what's hit at you, and don't worry about trying to reach too far or do too much. If you're in a 5-man, you're probably going to have somebody pretty close to you anyway, so your main job is just to field what's hit directly at you and kind of let the rest be what it is. Okay, so another very important thing that you need to focus on after you have learned the basics from our first video is kind of try to spot and locate pitches a little bit inside and outside, because if you're in a situation where you might have a runner on first with 1 or no outs and you're needing a double play ball, right? So a good hitter in a competitive situation is going to try and push a ball this way to hit behind the runner just to make the double play a little bit harder to turn. Knowing that, you need to set your middleman up over here and, like, again, communicate. Tell him what you want to do. I'll say it again. The best middleman ever will do whatever you tell him to do. If I look at my middleman and I say, hey, go out here and stand with your glove on your head and do jumping jacks, guess what he better be doing? Because that's what I need him to do. You're the pitcher. You're kind of in command of this situation. So if you got fielders doing whatever they want, or if you're not on the same page as your middleman especially, you're leaving holes, you're leaving gaps, and you're really susceptible to giving up a lot of, I won't say dumb hits, but I'll say unnecessary hits that could otherwise be prevented if you could have people on the same page. So if I'm in a situation where I am pitching to the scenario I just mentioned, 1 or no outs, I got a runner on first base, I'm going to start, this is usually my go-to spot. I'm comfortable from here. I can hit a lot of different spots. So I'll start my first pitch here, and if I know he's going to do nothing but push, you got to know your hitters. If I know he's going to do nothing but push, I'm probably going to bust him outside and a little bit flat, because I don't want to get something that he can get up in the air and flick that way. So I want to do something a little bit flat and outside and feed my middleman, feed my second baseman something on the ground. Feed your defense. Pitch to your defense. If I put my middleman over here over my shoulder and then throw a pitch inside, well, guess what? He's got 8 tons of real estate to hit a ball because you threw him something he could pull, and you've only got 2 fielders over here, especially in a situation where my infielders might be ready for me to pitch for a double play. So this guy at third base might be giving up this line a little bit that's really going to hose you if you get caught off guard and you're throwing something inside and he just yanks one down the line. You got to pitch to your defense. It's very important to pitch to your defense. And what can go hand in hand with pitching to defense is reading the batter. If I am the pitcher, and we're just going to use the same scenario again, I got a runner on first with 1 or no outs, and I see a batter walk up here like this. He's hugging the plate. He's probably not going to push a ball. Every case is different, but generally speaking, he's probably not going to push a ball. He's still looking to pull. And yes, I did say you want to put your middleman on that side. It all depends on the situation. If I see a guy way up on the plate like this, I'm going to say, hey, he's probably going to pull it, set my middleman on that side of the field. But hindsight of that is, you see a guy way off the plate, he probably has no interest in pulling a ball. If he does, tip your cap and move on. It's not that he can't, it's just that when you're playing slow pitch softball, you can position yourself wherever you want in this box to hit a ball. And generally speaking, the easiest way to hit a ball that way is to get off the plate and give yourself a better chance to hit anything that way. That's why guys will set way up off the plate. I'll do it from time to time. If I know for sure I need to get a ball behind someone, I'll set up off the plate, kind of get myself up in the box a little bit just to make sure that I'm not going to hit something on the ground. Watch for that. Watch for those kind of things that pick up on those cues. You can't use it as an end-all be-all, but it at least gives you an idea of what the hitter might have in mind. And again, in a situation where a guy might be looking for a home run, if he's a guy that normally sets up out here, not that he can't hit a home run that way, but if all of a sudden you see him in a home run situation, get way up on the plate, or you may see him kind of open up a little bit, he's looking to yank a ball. He's not going to get up on the plate and open up and then hit a ball down the line. Read your batter, understand what's going through his head, and the same thing with a guy that you might see, you know, in a baseball stance. I'm not going to make myself look like an idiot without a bat and give you a baseball stance, but you know what I'm talking about. The knees bent, the elbows are up, and all this, you know, baseballism stuff. He's probably more than likely going to like something flat and low, because he's a baseball guy. He's more than likely spend a lot of time hitting a flat, fast ball. So if you just throw him something flat and fast, guess what? You just threw him whatever he wanted. You literally could have just walked up there and put it on a tee for him about this high and just let him hit it. When I see a guy get in the box, he's got his little knees bent, he's got his elbows ready to hit. I'm not giving that dude anything flat. I'm giving him, depending on where I'm playing, if I'm playing ASA, you're getting 8 to 10 footers, bro. You're getting 8 to 10 footers, and they're all going to land probably somewhere back in here. Yes, I understand it might not cross him for a strike. I'm not worried about strikes. I'm worried about making him hit my pitch. So especially if I've got a strike on him, or if I just want to try him, I will throw something deep on him, see if he bites, because the last thing he wants to hit is a ball up here. He hasn't been trained to do that. He's a baseball bro. You know, he's trained to hit something from middle of his chest down. That's what he wants to do. So if he's in the box, hum a flat fast one in there, don't be disappointed when he yanks it. And probably the last thing I do want to touch on here for this video, now that you've got the knuckle ball down, you've got an idea how to set your defense and set yourself up to be successful. The other thing that you can do is mix your pitches up a little bit. We talked about the knuckle ball. So like I said, 75 to 80% of the time, maybe more. Some disagree with that and want to throw it all the time. Cool, whatever works for you. But don't be predictable. Don't throw a first pitch strike every time. You will become easy to hit. They're going to know, okay, well, I need to jump on the first one. Or you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're always working and you're always fighting to get them to nibble on something, and you end up down 3-1 all the time. Because that's going to do two different things. One, your defense, you're going to kind of lose them a little bit. They're going to kind of sit back on their heels, wait for you to fall behind 3-1, and then throw your cookie for a strike. You'll become, again, predictable, because now the batter's going to know he might swing 3-1. Yes, it's the golden rule of thumb not to, but if he's a good hitter and he's ready to swing 3-1 because he knows that you're going to give him a strike for a fact, swing. You know, he's going to swing. There's no doubt about it. In a certain situation, whether he's your DHH or he's your home run hitter or anything like that, you have to be able to mix your stuff up. So, for instance, if you get a first pitch strike, mix it up. Don't just throw another strike. Nibble with a couple. That's your chance to miss and try the pitch that you might not normally throw, or something that you want to see what he might bite on. And when it comes to being predictable, that can also apply to the batter. There's guys that I know that will swing at the first pitch every time. Literally every time. If they can reach it, they're going to swing at it because they want to hit. They're antsy. They're ready to go. So you got to pay attention. If you see a guy that's already swung at the first pitch a couple of different times, especially if it wasn't a good pitch, miss even worse. Just keep missing until you get that guy to actually miss. There are some guys out there that are good bad ball hitters, and they're going to hit it no matter what. But the big thing you can do to help yourself is pay attention to hitters' tendencies as well. You don't want to be predictable. Try and take advantage of a predictable hitter. And that rule can apply to an entire team as well. Say you're pitching against a team that is really young, so they're really aggressive, or it's a bunch of baseball kids, so everything looks like a beach ball coming into them. Pay attention to that. If you feel like you're throwing, pitches that are bad and they're still hitting them, how much worse of a pitch can you throw and get them to hit it? If you're playing against a bunch of kids that just came out of college, or they're on summer break and they just want to go out and play softball, or maybe they're just not disciplined hitters. If they're swinging at everything, throw everything. That doesn't mean keep throwing strikes and let them hit it. See what they won't swing at, and then try and work from there. And especially if you're playing against a team that is full of guys that just want to swing the bat no matter what, wear them out. I've been known to do that a time or two as well. I'll walk a guy here and there. If I know a guy is extremely antsy to hit, I'll walk him once or twice. And by the time he gets up to the plate for that third time to hit, screw this, man. I've already walked twice. I want to hit. Guess what? Now you got him right where you want him. You can pretty much throw whatever you want. He'll, one, swing at the first pitch, and two, probably get himself out because he's so amped up to hit. So you got to be able to use your head, think about every possible scenario when it comes to the guys that want to just swing at everything. Try and be ready for them to do that, and then you have to have a counter to that. All right, so there you have it, guys. There is the second installment of our Pitching 101 series. Sorry it took me so long to get it out to you guys, but I hope it's still helpful. I hope that you were able to improve from the first one, and then you can take this one into your more competitive settings, like your Saturdays or your competitive league night, and it's going to help you not only become a better pitcher, but help your team pick up some more dubs as well. So stay tuned for the third one. I am, one, going to get it done sooner, and two, we're going to shoot for the stars here and see how high up we can go with a pitcher to come on and kind of talk about what they feel like makes them a good pitcher, what makes them a difference maker, some of the good advice they've had along the way, maybe kind of share some mentality stuff with them too. So we got the basics in. You learned how to throw a knuckleball, talked about some approach stuff, talked about setting your defense. What more could you ask for in a video? I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Swing hard in case you hit it. BP Hero, catch you next time.